This Mario game that you're seeing on the screen was entirely developed end-to-end with just prompts. I did not write or edit even a single line of code. It was inspired by this tweet from Andrei Karpathy saying that, there's a kind of coding called vibe coding where you fully give in to the vibes, embrace exponential, and forget that the code even exists. And in response to this tweet, we asked, can you share screenshots of things you built with just seeing, saying, and copy pasting? Then he shared the screenshot and he said that he's built a custom LLM reader app. So while he reads Wealth of Nations, he can just ask questions about any paragraph. When you click a paragraph and ask, it calls an LLM, builds context window of what this is, copy paste the full chapter, the paragraph, and the question. And then this is the app that he has built. This work was inspired by this, and we went ahead and tried to build the entire Mario game using just prompting. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's start by creating a directory for our project. Let's call it Super Mario, and let's also create a Conda environment. I'm going to call the environment Super Mario as well. So I've called the Conda environment Super Mario, and I'm creating a Python 3.11 version. So it has created the Conda environment. Let's now move on to setting up Cursor for our development. So to get started with Cursor, we need to visit cursor.com, and when we visit there, it shows the right version that we need to download. For the Mac, it says download for Mac. I've already downloaded. It's pretty much like installing any other app on your machine. So once we have installed that, we should be able to open it up and then start our development. Once we open Cursor, this is how the UI looks like. We can go to File, Open Folder, and we can choose the folder that we just created, which is Super Mario, and I'm going to click Open. So it has now opened the folder. On the top right, we can see that there is this window called Toggle AI Panel. If we click on that, there we have the AI panel where we can write our prompts, and the IDE should be able to create code based on our prompts. And if we want to view the terminal, then we can click on this toggle panel and we should be able to view the terminal. So first, let's sort out the terminal and also sort out the virtual environment in which it's running. So let's activate the Conda environment by saying Conda activate Super Mario. And we also would like the project to use the environment that we just created. So if I do Control-Shift-P, select the Python interpreter. If I select the Conda environment that we just created, then it should be able to use that Conda environment. So here we have the Super Mario that we just created. So I've chosen that. Now I'm going to start my development. Just a quick walkthrough of what's possible with the AI panel. So we have three tabs, which is Chat, Composer, and Bug Finder. So under the Composer is where we'll be spending most of our time, and we'll be giving all our prompts. In terms of the shortcuts, if we just do a Control K, it opens up inline code generation. For example, we can say write a function to concatenate strings, and we will get the function inline to concatenate strings. We can either accept it or we can reject it. I've rejected that. If we want to create multiple files or compose a feature, we can do a Control I. It opens up the Composer panel. Here we can give the instruction, whatever the feature that you want to add, and it will take care of either generating new files, it will take care of creating new files and generating code within those files. Or if you want a general chat, we do a Control L. It opens up the chat window where we can ask general questions. For example, if you want documentation about some framework that you're using, then we can probably ask in the chat window. Because we are going to be adding features upon features, we are going to be just using the Composer for the entire project that we're doing. We will be just using the Composer and won't be using the chat or the Bug Finder. And we also have the ability to insert images both in the Composer and also the chat. If we just want to give a design screenshot, we should be able to include that and then ask it to come up with the code to replicate that design. So later on in the video, we'll see how we will give a screenshot of the design. So let's get started with the prompts and see how well the code generation goes. And now that the IDE is set up, let's start with our first prompt. I'm going to ask it to write code in Python using Fast API framework. It's just a framework of my choice. We can use some other framework like Django or Flask. Write code in Python using Fast API framework to play the Mario game. The game should have a user interface. I should be able to play the game using my keyboard. Let's see what it comes up with. We can see that it's generating the code. I'll help you create a simple Mario style game using Fast API for the backend and HTML JavaScript for the front end. We'll use the arrow keys to control the character. First, let's create the necessary files. So it's creating the main.py and it's creating index.html and it's creating the style sheet using styles.css. And it's also created this static folder where we will probably put some images as we go ahead, and it's also created game.js for the JavaScript. It all looks perfect. It's completed generating now, and I'm going to click on accept all to accept all the changes, and we can see that it has also given the structure of the directory, and it's asked us to install the required dependencies. So I'm just going to run this command to install the dependencies. Let's install the dependencies first using pip, which is FastAPI, UVICon, and WebSockets. It's completed the installation of all the required dependencies, and it's asking us to run the server using this command. It has started the application. It doesn't have any errors, and it's given us the link to open the game. Let's see what it comes up with. It has simply come up with this image without the Mario in place because we don't have the Mario sprite yet. So we need to add the sprite to the static files. In the features that we can add, it is suggesting that we add sprites for better graphics. It's asking us to add enemies and coins or power-ups. So I'm going to ask it to make the code changes to include the sprites. So I've now asked it to make code changes to include sprites, enemies, coins, or power-ups. Let's see what it comes up with. It's changing the game.js. So it has generated all the code, and you'll need to create a new directory for the sprite images. It's asking us to make directory static/images, and it's asking us to add these PNG files, mario.png, coin.png, goomba.png, and mushroom.png. So I'm going to add these sprites and see how the game looks now. First of all, I'm going to accept all the code changes. As it has suggested, I'm going to run this make directory static/images. So we have the images folder here, and I'm going to add all the sprites. All that I've done is I've accessed Google Images and then searched for these sprites, and you can see that I've added coin.png, goomba.png, mario.png, mushroom.png. Let's start the app now and see what happens. I'm just running the same command to run the main, and we're not getting any error. And if we go back to the browser, we can see that already we have the Mario and we have the coins, and we can see the enemies that are running, and Mario is able to jump and is able to squash the enemies as they come along. And we can notice that gravity is not in place. It's able to just go straight in air without falling down. So let's see if we can fix that. So I'm going to ask it to introduce gravity so that Mario falls freely when moved around with the arrow keys. Let's see what it does. It says the game already has gravity implemented, but I'll enhance it to make it more noticeable and realistic. Here are the changes, and it's changing the game.js. These changes will make gravity feel more realistic with increased gravity strength, maximum falling speed, smoother acceleration, friction for horizontal movement, improve movement width, add features like the character will now fall naturally when walking off platforms. So this is what we wanted. Let's accept that. Let's refresh the user interface and see how that looks. So this is how the game starts, and if I go, yeah, it's now able to fall down, and it says game over, score 0, and it restarts it. So that's pretty good. I'm now going to ask it to provide some tunnels into which Mario can jump over and enter. I'm going to say I will provide the sprites for the tunnel. Let's see what it does. It's modifying the game.js again. Add your tunnel sprite image to static images tunnel.png. This script should be a vertical pipe-like structure similar to classic Mario games. I get that right. I'm going to add this tunnel.png and find out how it goes. So first of all, I'm going to accept all the code changes, and now I'm going to add the image. So I've now added this tunnel.png. As we can see here, I'm now going to go to the UI and find out how it looks. So that's wonderful. As we can see, it's now added the tunnel, and if I jump over it, we can see that it's able to stand over the tunnel. But the problem is it's not blocking Mario from walking. So it's literally acting as an object that is invisible. So we need to instruct in the code that Mario should not be passing through it. Let's give that instruction and find out how those changes go. So to fix the problem of Mario passing through the tunnel, we're going to give this prompt which says Mario is able to pass through the tunnel. It should be allowed only to jump over it. Fix it. Let's see what it comes up with. It has come up with changes to game.js. So I'm going to accept all, and I'm going to go back to the UI to find out how it looks. I can notice that it's not able to go through the tunnel. Now it's only able to jump over it. So which seems to be the right logic. And if I go straight into the tunnel, it's just stopping there and it's not able to go through it. So that seems to work fine. We can see that I've gathered all the coins, crushed all the mushrooms, but I'm still not able to go on to the next level. So let's ask it to make it more advanced and introduce more levels. So I'm going to try that out now. The prompt that I'm giving is include different levels in the game and make it more challenging, and it's going to make the code changes for me. I'll help you add multiple levels with increasing difficulty, and it's changing game.js again. So most of the logic is there in game.js, and it's using main.py just to handle the request. Still making the changes. These changes will add 3 progressively hard levels, more platforms, more coins, faster enemies, different layouts, higher score requirements. I'm just going to accept all of it, and I'm going to go back to the UI. We can see that now we have the level here, we have the score, and we also have the required score, which is 300. It says level 1 complete, moving to next level. Let's click OK and find out how it goes. So it started the level 2. It's even able to enter through one tunnel and get out of the other one, which is nice. So this is the screenshot that I downloaded from the internet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it this image, and I'm going to change the color scheme to match that of this image. So let's see how it aesthetically changes the look and feel of the game. So I'm going to click on image, and I'm going to attach that image that I've just downloaded. So I'm now giving this prompt saying that's change the color scheme of the game to match that of the screenshot. So let's see how it goes. So I'm going to accept all. There you go. That looks pretty nice, actually. I didn't expect it to be really good. I mean, it's literally picked up all the colors that we gave in the screenshot, and it's even able to complete the level. Let's see how it looks in the level 2. So even in level 2, keeps the color scheme, and I'm quite impressed. So what I'm going to do now is change the border so that the game fits the entire browser. I'm back in cursor. I'm just going to say reduce the border width so that the game occupies the full screen. This is changing the style.css, which makes sense. It's also updating the game.js. It shows the accept all. I'm going to click on accept all, and I'm going to go back and see how the UI looks now. Perfect. So that's occupying the entire screen, and I'm really impressed by the way it has developed the whole game. I've not written even a single line of code. So that's pretty much what I wanted to demonstrate at this stage. And please let me know in the comments if you want me to demonstrate any other tool. I think we are just scratching the surface of what's possible with AI today with the LLM. So I hope to see you in my next video. Until then, take care.